Hey VC, Dr. Robert, just back from our trip abroad last couple weeks. This is the second video I'm going to put up. I put one up previously about our time in Paris, and then we went from there to England, and we kind of toured around England, saw Patti Smith down in the Brighton Dome. That was fantastic. One of the best shows I've ever seen. And then saw also Nick Mason of Pink Floyd with a band that he's put together called Saucer Full of Secrets, also at the Brighton Dome. Very cool venue. Yeah, they played, that band, he put it together to play Pink Floyd music that predates Dark Side of the Moon. So a number of great records they made, the first couple with Syd Barrett and then on their own. So you'll see some footage from both of those shows. Hit some great record stores in London, and I'll call out Reckless Records. I'd say that was where I probably had the most success. And then we also went to Ronnie Scott's one night in London, and I'll have some footage of that band here as well. And then I'll wrap up with a few of the records that I scored there that I think are interesting and maybe hard to find in the States. And yeah, that's kind of the plan. Stay tuned. All right, here we go. First, there you go. That is Donkey Kong, which you can play at the pizza parlor in Portland here called a Pizza Shoals over on Hawthorne. Fun place and the pizza best in town. All right, I'm going to show a couple of interesting things. This is a photo first. We went to Abbey Road Studios to just to be there. It's a little hard to see because there's kind of a reflection off the window, but the thing that caught my eye, I found this in a record store over near there. See that Paul is wearing sandals, and of course on the Ultimate cover, he's barefoot, which led in part to the Paul is dead myth about the Beatles. This was apparently, they took several shots of the four of them that weren't chosen for the cover. This one apparently, according to the shopkeeper, was taken by Linda McCartney. So wanted to have that for my wall. I just thought it was a cool artifact from our trip. So really enjoyed that. So I'm gonna show some records. First couple of these are just one-offs, and then I'm gonna get into some thematic stuff a little bit. This is a really cool record, and this is one of those that, why do I have to go to England to find this fucking record? This is a United States pressing. Clearly it's a performance about the United States involvement in Vietnam. You can see this is a grave site with a person's face showing through the dirt. This is on Folkways, and it's kind of a collage, I'd call it an oral collage of all of the goings on over in Vietnam. So voices of people on the streets, voices of some soldiers talking about their experience over there, and of course it is not a positive moment. That came out in 1972, and I collect things like that, right? How often are you going to listen to that? I'm probably never going to listen to it again, but you know, I like these artifacts of kind of counterculture from the 60s and early 70s. Here's another really cool record that I found, and I'm not really familiar with this woman, Julie Covington. I've read about her. She was a dramatic actress as well, performed in Evita, I guess, the first time that was shown. This is an Virgin pressing from 1978. And the band here has a lot of big names on it. Richard Thompson is the guitarist on most of the record, but then John Cale plays on it. Chris Spedding plays on it. There are other recognizable members, Steve Winwood. So she clearly was very connected to the music scene there. So with that, I'm going to show three sort of new wave punk band records that I found. This one's Dr. Feelgood Classics. I've collected their stuff for a long time. I have most of their records, not quite all of them. This is a later one, 1987. This is after the guitar player, the original guitar player, I think they called him the Big Figure. And he's got some other, maybe he's not, that may not be right. But the original guitar player, not on this record, not with the band, but still quite good. And I wouldn't call it punk. I think they were sort of regarded as pub rock band, a pub rock band that predated punk, but it's just good rock and roll. Here's another one that I really like, The Damned. I had a chance to meet three of the band members, including Rat Scabies and Captain Sensible, and the singer, and I'm blanking on his name just now, so somebody can put that in the comments. This is a cool British pressing of this album that has this stand-up figure out of the middle of the gatefold. I have an American copy of this. It's a very different cover. It's not in color, and it's not gatefold, and it doesn't have that little thing. So of course you can't live without that. And that's, again, kind of more post-punk by the time they recorded this. This was 1986. And in fact, Captain Sensible, I think, is not on that record by that point. Then this is another one, Squeeze. This kind of falls into a category of 1990 or later, when, you know, these records were just you know, not being pressed in big numbers, and sometimes not at all. And this one came out 1990 exactly, and was never released on vinyl in the United States, at least back in the day. So this is an original UK pressing of a Squeeze record. It's a live record, and I have yet to play that one, but we'll get to that soon. Now I'm gonna show a few kind of classic rock records that I found, and several of these very interesting. This is an original UK RCA pressing of Diamond Dogs by David Bowie. Here's the label, and this is thick vinyl. This is a 1974 record. One of his best. You know, I played this front and back the other day. Some of the songs on here, you know, I have been a Bowie fan for years. I think the first David Bowie record I bought was Heroes, and then I collected a lot of the stuff from around that time and know that stuff backwards and forwards. But this album, you know, of course I know Diamond Dogs, I know Rebel Rebel, 1984, really that is really a Curtis Mayfield / James Brown funk song. It is good. And all the other songs on here are great. It is really a great album, and I hadn't fully known how great that was until I bought this copy. Here's another original from back in the day, Led Zeppelin 2, and that's on the Plum label, an original UK pressing of that. This is not the Robert Ludwig mastering, and I've played it to check. It doesn't have RL in the wax in the matrix, and it certainly doesn't sound like the RL pressing. So still looking for that, by the way, and it's on my radar, but not yet in my hands. Here's another one. I actually have a US copy of this, but this is a British copy, original pressing of the John Wesley Harding record from 1968, and this is a mono copy of this, which is hard to find in the States, but you know, I think it's less rare. It certainly is a little less valuable from England, but there you have it, still a cool record. And then one more among the classic rock. This is, I think, interesting. So Wheels of Fire in the United States was not released as two separate single records, but in England it was, and I think in maybe Japan it was. So this is the Live at the Fillmore LP, it's only one LP from the two-record Wheels of Fire set that was released. This is a little rough, but again, not something I'm ever going to find in the States, likely. And then I wanted to finish off with a couple of singer-songwriters from Britain that, you know, absolutely deserve a lot of attention. This was a really cool record. This was still sealed, and this is a new pressing, came out in, well, relatively new, 2007. And it's a limited number pressing to 1,000. And this is taken from some demo tapes. It was put together by his sister, and she sings on a couple of songs here too, Nick Drake's sister. And I gotta say, I mean, I just love the stuff that I have of his. I still don't have all of his studio LPs. I think I'm just missing one, but trying to find them. But these songs, many of these do not appear on those records that came out while he was alive. But these are, from what I can tell, every bit as good. His voice is so plaintive, and I just have always liked his voice. And the songs, even though some of them are not his compositions, but man, he pulls it off in a big way. And then this is a record I also had an American copy of, Roy Harper Valentine. I've been collecting his stuff now for several years. This is an original UK Harvest label. And this record, you know, he mostly, it's him accompanying himself on acoustic guitar, sort of solo. But this has one song called Male Chauvinist Pig Blues that has, he was a friend of, you know, Led Zeppelin. He says in here, dedicated to Bonzo, Jimmy, John, Paul, and Robert, all of the four members of Led Zeppelin. This was a cover designed by Hipgnosis. So he is well regarded by his peers in England. Never caught on in a big way in the United States. But this record has that song, Male Chauvinist Pig Blues, should have been a huge hit. It has Jimmy Page on guitar. It has I'm blanking on his name now, the Who's drummer, Keith Moon, on the backing band. And it's basically him playing a really rock and roll song and singing a rock and roll song backed up by just an incredible all-star band of UK musicians, and it really rocks. So that song in particular is well worth finding. And I think Roy Harper, you know, I would say that Nick Drake has gotten some notoriety. Obviously not a lot of mainstream success, but a lot of collectors know him and seek his stuff. Roy Harper, I don't think quite enjoys as large a fan base here in the States, and I hope that changes. So that's what I found. Wait for the next installment. Look forward to meeting some of you out on the road. We met Fred in Paris this trip at Sam's Records. That was one of the highlights of the trip, and always enjoy linking up with vinyl addicts from wherever they are. And if any of you make it out to Portland, please give me a ring. All right, until next time, the doctor's out.